Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alina and on this channel I share my art journey with you. And today, well, it's a day where I did not make the worst watercolor landscape of my life. I painted worse things than what I did today, and I'm recording this voiceover from the exact same spot where I always record it, and I'm looking at this landscape from far away and it looks slightly better, but something just didn't work out that great today. To start with, I decided to challenge myself today even more than I already am, and decided to go with a reference photo that I'd then turn into a watercolor landscape. I will link the unsplash photo in the description of this video, so if you want to give it a try, please do. It's a lovely landscape and I could have done a lot more with it, I think. I don't know. I sketched this out in pencil off camera because I was trying to keep this kind of shorter. You might notice this is sped up more than my usual videos, and that's because it took me a while to do this. I'd say an hour and a half, maybe a little more. An hour and a half of just the painting, and then there's the sketching, and then there's me just staring at it and trying to figure out where I went wrong. I think I completely screwed up the last bit, the part at the end when I was trying to do the foreground, because I added way too much detail. I think, I don't know, it just there aren't enough value variations, I feel. I kind of like how the sky turned out in the end when I fixed the initial too reddish tint I gave the clouds. It was interesting and challenging, and I think I learned a lot. I tried to limit my palette some. I used my not my crimson, not my alizarin crimson. It's the color next to it, which I can't remember what it's called. It's between the vermilion and the alizarin crimson, and I think it's called, I can't remember, and I packed my watercolors and I can't figure it out right now. I'll try to in the future, but I used that red, a bit of yellow, 2 greens and a blue, and some burnt sienna and burnt umber. Not a lot of colors. I thought that would be enough to give me the greens and earthy tones I wanted, and they did work well together. I just think I wasn't exactly sure what I was doing at some point. I did try to mix what I needed, but in the end I think it needed to be more earthy. I don't know. What I do know is that I probably didn't paint everything in the right order either. I think I should have just blocked colors everywhere and then added details, or I don't know, at some point something didn't just gel for me, and I decided I didn't like the picture much. The picture I was using as a reference, I like that a lot because that's why I chose it. I'm staring at it right now, and I think that faraway mountain, I just needed to have everything a bit more toned down, but then again it had some really dark shadows. I don't know. But the thing is, there are parts of it that I like. It was an interesting challenge, and it's definitely a lot more difficult to try to interpret something in watercolor myself than following a tutorial, when I don't have to make a lot of decisions. They're kind of made for me and I can just focus on reproducing them. I still think I should have gone with a simpler foreground, and those two pillars, logs, cut trees, whatever, tree stumps, whatever they are. I should have just made them bigger now that I think of it. Make them bigger, try to not do the little evergreens and the grasses that anyway kind of blurred them in the photo I had anyway, and just go with some random greenery on the top of this hill or whatever it is, and just make those two tree stumps a more focal point. I'll probably revisit this at some point in the future, but I don't hate it. I don't want to come off as if I'm bashing my painting, because, you know, for what it is, one of my first attempts to do a watercolor landscape using a reference and no guidance, it's not that bad. It could have been much worse, and I know I've done worse when I was trying to do stuff myself. I don't dislike the color scheme either. I just feel like I could have done a lot more contrast. It's a weird one because there were a lot of dark shadows in the foreground and midground, and then some more all back there in the background. I like how I did the really far away mountains and the sky and this central huge peak standing out and all that, but I do think I should have just increased the foreground, like make the stumps bigger than they were in the reference, and just have the edge of this little hill where the vantage point was, because then it would have simplified a lot of things for me, which is great. I know what to do next time. But despite all that, and despite struggling with this, I still enjoyed it. Does that sound weird? It's weird, right? Even if I struggle with paintings, even if I feel like they're not turning all right, I don't exactly get frustrated or down. I still enjoy the process, and I'm always going like, oh, it's fine, because I'm just learning right now and I'm starting out and there's a lot to improve, and it's fine. I'm doing it, I'm sticking with it, even though it's hard. And yeah, it's a weird thing that even when my paintings or my artwork in general doesn't turn out the way I want it, I still enjoy myself, I still relax, and I have a lot of fun, and I love it. And that's probably why right now, the more I look at this little painting of mine, the more I like it. I think it's because of the feeling I get while doing it, and because I figured out how I could have or reframed everything to make things a little easier on myself. That's why I'm really curious. I think I find it really complicated when I have this weird, really dark midground and then slightly more of a lighter foreground. I struggle a bit in how to achieve it. I feel like this would work better for me in gouache, because you can go light to dark and dark to light if you need to. But I enjoyed the challenge. I wanted a challenge and I got a challenge. I'll probably take a break from that many challenges next week because my gouache is supposed to arrive at some point on Monday. So next week will be a week of doing gouache exercises and then gouache tutorials, and after that I'll start alternating with watercolors again. But during the week, because I'm so busy with work and everything else, and because I still want to share this with you and post videos almost every day, I will stick to tutorials and probably do all my pieces in an A5 format, so I'll just cut my watercolor sheets in two, just to make sure it doesn't take forever and I can still do this instead of just giving up because I have too much work and I don't have like 2 to 3 hours every day to film, edit, do a voiceover and so on. And another thing I might do is probably record a very short intro for some of these future videos, tell you what I'm doing, my overall feelings on it, and then just let the rest of the painting and some nice music background speak for itself. Well, that might also be a solution, but that just remains to be seen, because I might just do it as I've been doing it so far if I have the time. So yeah, this is my piece for today. I hope you don't find it to be too much of a disappointment. Like I said, I'm not hating it, but I'm not 100% happy with it either. I liked yesterday's more, even if it had some mistakes and errors and whatever, because I felt it did a better job at communicating what I wanted it to communicate. But you know, like, the darker it gets, the closer to sunset we get. And the further away I am from it, the more I love it. Oh my god, that's ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, thank you for being here for another day of this interesting journey I'm on. It's fun and challenging and difficult, and it teaches me a lot, and it forces me to try new stuff, which I absolutely adore. I have a spot where I do my voiceovers now so that I can admire my work and kind of get accustomed to seeing it. It's all great. So if you've enjoyed this at all, do give me a like, and if you have any feedback and critiques, I really don't mind receiving those. That's how I learn, basically. And I don't think I'm gonna post this on Instagram because I wasn't, at least not today, I was unhappy with it, so I didn't take a photo, and now it's too dark to take on in natural light. But I might post it tomorrow, because the point is to show my failures as well, because this is how we all learn. So yeah, if you want to keep up with the rest of this a painting a day challenge, maybe subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. I'm at 93 subscribers right now. I would love to get to 100 at some point so that I can get a custom URL for my channel, basically. But you don't have to, obviously. It would just be cool to get to a 100 number at some point. And yeah, that's it. I hope you're having a lovely Sunday. It's evening here, we're just going to have dinner. I'm going to walk Ares, and then I'm going to wind down for the evening. So I wish you a relaxing rest of the day, and hope you'll have an amazing new week starting tomorrow. Please stay home, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye!